when you're working in 3D space, you have to know, like with a compass, which way's forwards, which way's backwards, and which way's left and right. And inside the 3D world, there is a forwards, a backwards, and a left and a right. And the way that you know this is by looking at the bottom left corner. It's called a gizmo. You see that? Mm-hmm. What you've got is you've got what's called 3 axes. An axis is a direction. Yeah. You've got the green one, the red one, and a blue one. And what it will tell you, no matter where you are rotated around, it'll tell you which way is forward, which way is backwards, which way is up, and which way is left and right. So you may be thinking to yourself, well, why does that matter? Why does it matter which way is left or right, up and down? Well, I'll show you. If we bring this cube in, okay, and this cube is going to be a car. For argument's sake, let's say this is going to be a car. I'll show you how to do all of this later on. You've got this car in there. And while we're working on the car, we accidentally rotate it. Like that. Now, you can see that the tool handle, see that? Mm-hmm. That blue handle there is telling you what's forwards and backwards. So if I know this blue handle means forwards and backwards, and my car is like that, we know our car's not straight. Our car's not straight. And it's important that when we're working in 3D that we work straight. We work so that things are perfectly straight, because later on there's certain tools that you can use which do need your model to be straight. So you would instantly go, oh, that was a mistake, and you would go back. I'll show you how to do all of these things so that you've got it straight again. And you only knew this because this tool handle, this blue one here, is telling you what's forwards and backwards. But if you didn't have the tool handle, press the escape key, you used the bottom left instead. You see there? Mm-hmm. So it still shows you which way is forwards and backwards. This is called the gizmo.
The gizmo shows you the correct direction at all times according to what's called world space within 3D. This acts like a compass and always points the same direction no matter which direction you're facing within the 3D space.
Let's learn the directions north, south, east, and west. North, south, east, west. North, south, east, west. It's helpful to know how to read a compass or how to use a GPS because they show or tell you which way you're going. Knowing north, south, east, and west helps us when we drive, when we're reading a map, when we're giving directions, and when we're learning about the world.
So if I was to now rotate around the back of the car, I could see that forwards, according to that little gizmo on the blue, if I click on it, it is the same as that. See that?
Yeah.
So what about left and right? Well, guess which one's left and right? Which handle do you think's left and right? The green one or the red one?
Red one.
Yeah. So the red one would be your left and right.
Yeah. And would the green one be up and down?
Yeah. And the green one's up and down. So you have got in this 3D world what's called a proper, accurate forward and backwards, left and right, and up and down. Now inside 3D models, in 3D modeling, instead of people saying I'm moving it left or right, or I'm moving it in the red direction, what they would often say when you're talking to somebody that's doing 3D modeling is I'm moving it in a X, Z or Y direction. And all that means is it's a different name for a colour. that's on these handles. If you look at this little gizmo, you'll see you've got a little tiny Z, a Y and an X on there. I don't know if you can see that just down the bottom there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So if ever I say, or you hear someone saying on a forum, or oh, you need to move your model in the Z direction, well, you can look there. And what does Z direction mean? If you have a look there, what does it mean?
It means going left and right.
Well, look.
Oh, Z direction. So that'd be going forwards and backwards.
That's it. What about the Y? If you move something on a Y direction.
That'd be going up and down.
Yeah, and the X?
That would be going side to side.
That's it.
Right.
So, the reason why they add these X, Y and Z on there is because when you go into different 3D programs, sometimes they change the colours around. So you couldn't say to somebody, I'm moving it in the red, because in their program the red can mean up and down. But whenever you use the term Z, X or Y, it's the same in every single program. So you could say, oh, I'm going to move my character up in the Y direction, up, so that his feet are on the floor, because his feet may be going for the floor. So that's the only technical thing that I'm going to tell you about. The gizmo down here, which tells you where you are orientated in 3D space and how you can move this left and right, up and down, forwards and backwards. And if ever you're going around like this and you're not sure which direction you're in, and you've got your model deselected as well, you think, well, how do I know which direction I'm in? Well, you can just look down there and you always know that the Z, the blue, is in the forward direction. And if the Z and the blue is in the forward direction, it means that if you want to look right from the front of it, you make sure that the blue, see this rotator around with me,
Yeah.
is always facing forwards. See that? That blue there is pointing towards me. If I click on the model, it's the same. And that means that you've now orientated yourself to look at the front of your model. The reason why you would need to know that is because sometimes you may accidentally start to model like that, thinking that that's the front, and it is the front of your model, but you're not doing it in the front of 3D world space. How do you know? Because the blue handle should be pointing to the front. So if I was to rotate in my 3D world to the front, so the blue handle's pointing at me, you can now see that you've got your car rotated the wrong way, and that's not ideal for modeling. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So then what you would do is you would rotate it back to where it should be, and I'll explain these on these little handles. There you go.